You know that feeling, right? You spend weeks, maybe even months, stretching, trying to get more flexible, and you just feel like you're hitting a brick wall. You stretch, you hold, maybe you get a little sore, but the actual progress, it just never seems to show up. It's honestly one of the most frustrating things. But what if I told you the reason you're stuck has less to do with your muscles and way more to do with your brain? Let's get into the science of what's really going on.
I mean, it's the million-dollar question, isn't it? After all that work, all that time holding uncomfortable poses, why are you still so stiff? You feel like you're doing all the right things, but that deep, easy flexibility just feels totally out of reach.
And I'm willing to bet this all sounds very familiar. You just constantly feel limited by how tight your muscles are. A lot of the methods you've tried just leave you sore but not actually more flexible. Maybe you even find yourself holding back in sports or at the gym because you're secretly afraid of pulling something. And yeah, all those 30-second flexibility hacks you see online, the stiffness always comes right back. It's a frustrating cycle. Now, we're so often told that flexibility is just about your age or your genetics. You know, that some people are just born flexible and others aren't. But what if that's not really the whole story? The real answer, it turns out, is actually hardwired into our bodies.
See, our bodies have this built-in, automatic, protective brake system. And this is the real culprit behind why we stay stiff. Understanding how this brake works is the absolute first step to finally making some real progress.
Okay, so let's meet the main character in our story. It's called the stretch reflex. The best way to think about it is like your body's overeager bodyguard. It's a survival mechanism, and when it senses a muscle stretching too far or way too fast, it slams on the brakes by tensing that muscle up. Its only job is to prevent you from getting hurt. It means well, for sure, but it's also the very thing that's blocking your flexibility. And right here, this is the fundamental problem with so many traditional stretching methods. When you do a static stretch and just try to push through the tightness, you're literally fighting a tug-of-war against your own nervous system. You're pushing, and that stretch reflex is pulling right back, saying, nope, not safe. That's why progress can feel like you're wading through mud. But what if I told you there's another switch, a secret override button that does the exact opposite? This, my friends, is where the real breakthrough happens. And here it is. It's called the inverse stretch reflex. Now, this is another protective mechanism, but it works in a totally different way. When your muscle experiences high tension, and that's the key word, not just a stretch, but active tension, this other reflex kicks in and tells the muscle, okay, chill out, relax, to prevent damage. It's like the body's built-in emergency release valve. So let's just put it all together side by side so it clicks. On one hand, you've got the stretch reflex. It's triggered by stretching, it tenses the muscle, and the result is it blocks your flexibility. On the other hand, you have the inverse stretch reflex. It's triggered by high tension, it relaxes the muscle, and the result is it unlocks your flexibility. Two reflexes, totally opposite goals. You starting to see the opportunity here? So the big question is, how do we actually use this knowledge? Well, it brings us to a method that is all about learning how to flip that relaxation switch on command. It's basically a simple way to hack your own nervous system to get what you want. And the process is, well, it's incredibly simple. First, you just press a limb against a solid, unmoving surface, like a wall or the floor. Second, you actively tense up that muscle, creating that high level of tension we just talked about. And third, you just relax. That's it. That tension you created is the signal that triggers the inverse stretch reflex, and your muscle just lets go, allowing for a much deeper range of motion without a fight. And you want to know the best part? This doesn't take hours of painful stretching. Not at all. The routines built around this idea are designed to take just 8 minutes per session. It's all about working smarter with your body's own reflexes, not just pushing harder or longer. And the benefits go way beyond just being able to touch your toes. Because you're actively creating tension, you're also strengthening your muscles at the same time. You're reinforcing your joints, and you're building more resilient connective tissue in the process. It's an active method that builds a stronger, more capable body, not just a bendier one. And look, this isn't some niche theory. We're talking about over 500,000 people who are already using this science-based approach. We're talking beginners, older adults, pro athletes. They're all tapping into this exact same neurological switch. Ultimately, what this all points to is a huge shift in mindset. It's about moving away from this old idea of forcing your body into submission and instead learning how to communicate with it in a language it actually understands. The system's founder, Adam Cubiani, puts it just perfectly. He says, exercise is only the signal. Real change happens when your body decides it is safe to allow more range. And that just captures the entire philosophy, right? Flexibility isn't something you take by force. It's something your nervous system grants you when it feels safe and strong.
And that leaves us with one last really powerful question to think about. When you look at your own approach to fitness and flexibility, are you still fighting that tug-of-war against your body's natural reflexes, or are you ready to learn the signals that will finally let you work with it?